actually. It has not been something that we are rushing to just get a hands on getting to know everything all at just in few days. And it's amazing. And I really want to appreciate everyone for coming this far. Even at some point, I feel that you wanted to give up at some point, but thank you for trusting me enough to continue. And I promise you, we'll keep on giving you the best. And the materials already have been available. They're available for this. The next that will be comprehension. Though I might not send the material for the snake game immediately, I will just have to do it code code by code because that one is a project in which you're also going to do the same. So I would like to, instead of just doing the normal step by step, I would like trying to go through the notebook that we are giving you. I believe I should do it step by step, each step of the way, test the code and see how the game is actually working for us so that we know why we are doing a particular thing at a particular time. So without wasting much time, I think I gave a classwork something a little maybe a little thing to do during the day. I don't know if anybody wants to share their screen or tell me to share my screen and explain how he or she got it to the answer to the A. For those that got the answer to the A, why did you choose A? And okay, Mr. Ko, you want to say something? Okay.
Yes, Mr. Avian, please can you share your screen?
Okay. Okay, I should share my screen to the exercise.
Yes, yes.
Okay, I will do that shortly. I think I just posted a picture. Let me just go to that picture. Okay, so let me check where it is in the in the group chat. So I believe you can see my screen. And
Yes, I can see your screen. Yes, I can see your screen.
okay, so this was the question I asked.
Okay.
Okay, so we
So
have okay, continue.
the list initially has only seven as the element. So in the
Fantastic.
second line,
Okay,
the list dot insert. So this insert normally it will just add an element to the end of the list, but since we define the index as zero, it will add the
okay,
two as the first element.
yes,
Then the line three, the append function will just add the element to the end of the list. So
fantastic,
four, then the last one, since we are just adding it to the element, it will just add to the end. So it will be 2, 7, 4, and 6.
fantastic. Well done, well done. Wow, this is amazing. Well done, Mr. Ko. I saw this question in
So
a
thank
what do you
you.
call it? Yeah, I saw it in on LinkedIn when they were asking possible interview questions for Python kind of cases. So I had to screenshot it and send it across. So it's amazing that I looked at it. It's list that we have done. We have done list. We have covered almost everything in list. So I believe I just shared it, and I'm very happy with the result. And with this explanation, I'm very sure Mr. Ko had no knowledge of coding even before now, but now he's the one telling us one or two things, and he's making a whole lot of sense. Thank you very much for trying it out, Mr. Ko. And if there's anything that anybody else wants to add, if there's anything anyone else wants to add, it would be amazing. I can see it was Dr. Query that first answered the question. I was like, does he even sit down to even look at all this? As you just look at every, even you just sit, he doesn't even need to crack his head. He gets the answer immediately. So how far? How did you get it, Dr. Query?
Well, good evening, everyone. I
Good
looked at
evening, sir.
it, actually tried it out.
Okay, you tried it out. You tried it out like you ran the code.
Yes, I ran the code on
Oh,
my own.
okay. Okay. Well, at least you understood what was going on.
Of course, of course, of course.
All right, well done. Thank you very much for trying it out. Thank you, everyone, for looking at the code and having the answer already inside the head. So it's good that we are learning and we are getting there forward little by little. And let's just get started for what we have to do. We may not really have much time. I'm trying to make things faster, and also make sure that you also understand what we are actually uh, doing. So let me share my screen. Okay, I'm already sharing my screen. So I will just go straight to comprehension. And if you are a programmer and you are into things like this, and if you are someone that don't like complex, you don't like long codes, I've observed some of us here that we don't have we don't have that time for long codes. We don't like long codes at all. We just go straight to the point and let's get this business done. Okay, so what you are going to do right now, just let me go to the comprehension. So comprehension is more of like from the name, as the name implies, it means an easy way to loop over sequences, like something bringing comprehending, like so maybe I believe like making things easier by making it making it look very easy. So comprehension is an easy way to loop over sequences. When you mention of sequences, like those ones that are in terms of different elements inside of them, separated by commas or maybe colons and the rest. We have the likes of the list, we have series, we have tuples. All of them are in form of series. So these are the things that we'll be looking at. Let me try and put this thing in a what the presentation mode, if it's gonna be okay. So let me try and get this out. So, okay, so I believe this is better. So we're going to look at, first one we're going to look at is going to be the list. It's going to be the list comprehension, and it's going to be something that you actually find a way to understand. Please, at this stage, it's very important that if you do not understand, let me know, because I'll be as fast as possible. So the first example is we want to create a list that contains squares of numbers from 1 to 10. I'm going to use two methods. The first one is the classical loop that we normally use. We know about it before now. So the next one also going to be the comprehension. So we first of all, how do we create a list that contains squares of numbers from 1 to 10? So we can decide to start with an empty list. We can decide to start with an empty list. By the time we start with an empty list, we now said, okay, now let's loop through this. Let's create a loop that will give us values. And after that values that we have, we want to append it to that original list. So you can see here on this, let me try to see if I can add numbers. This one, I'm using the Jupyter Lab. I'm not using Colab. I'm not even using Jupyter Notebook. This is the one inside Anaconda. I told you guys to download at some point. So I think I can't really get a hands on that. Maybe I'll figure it out in the next class. But you can see here, for I in range, I want to create from number 1 to 10. So that's why I'm bringing 11 here. 1, 11. For I in range 1, this is the starting number, 11. Why is it 11? Because 11 will not be inclusive when it comes to range. And what are we going to do? We're going to say, okay, any value that we have in that particular range of I, which is going to be as it is going through an iteration, as it is looping each cycle, is going to be creating 1, 2, 3, 4 till we get to 10. So as this thing is going on, okay, what we want to do right now is the value of I, we want that value of I to be squared. That's why we can see here, we can see I double asterisk, which means the power of what we want it to be is square, so it's going to be power of 2. And anytime we have that, so we said anytime we have that, the value that we have for I already started with 1, but inside that I we have done a particular method to it, and which is to be a square. By the time we get that square, we want to append the value of that particular square of I into the empty list, which was squares. So you can see squares dot append. What are we appending? The square of what? Of I, which are, as you can see. So by the time we now say, okay, let's print squares. By the time we print squares, you can see the values will come out as 1, 4, 9, 6, because as it is going, this was the square of 1 is 1, the square of 2 is 2, is 4, the square of 3 is 9, and so on until we get to 100. So this will be a practical way of doing things, the list that contains numbers from 1 to 10. Very okay for us. But now, let's look at it. Okay, someone asked a question. If someone is joining and is okay, I believe that was a mistake, because if you are not muted, it means if I hear any voice, it means that someone wants to ask a question. So I believe no questions, and let me go ahead. Okay, so what I will have now is the comprehension part of the whole concept of the classical loop that we have just done. So we can see here, we go through it in one line. We now define a variable squares underscore com. We can just comprehension just to make it descriptive enough. I started with a square bracket. That square bracket is trying to tell us that we want to put it in a list, and we are already starting the value of I already. We want to start how we want to deal with I, and which is what we are going to do now. So we're already starting like we're putting in a square already. That the value, anything that we do for I is going to be square already. So what are we now going to do? And I said for I, for that particular I, which you have already said, okay, this is how it's going to be. Maybe, for example, before someone even gave birth to a son, and I said, this is how the son is going to be. So now, this is how the person is going to be. So for I in range, so now I said, okay, now the person has arrived. This is what I want you to do with this kind of thing. So for I in range, okay, 1 comma 11, what should I be? What should we do to I? We already said we want it to be squared. So by the time we print the squares, the square underscore com is going to give us the same thing. The same thing that we all these traits that we went through 1, 2, 3. We have done it on just one line. So I don't know if I'll pause at this particular point and ask if you understand what I've just done. If you do not, please ask your question. If you're in doubt right now, ask your question. The same thing we did for this classical loop is the same thing that we are doing here, but we have defined it in just one line. I don't know if anybody has a question. Any questions? Please, can I proceed? Anybody?
Yes, you can proceed.
Okay, okay, I can proceed. All right. Okay, I believe that's the voice from everyone. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to look at is this. You can see here, I did the same thing here, just that I was just trying to make it. Maybe I'll just put an enter key here. Just press an enter key. That's why this one came down here too. So it's the same thing here. Is the same thing here. Just that I made it. I want it to be descriptive enough in case you are getting it a whole. Maybe you're not really getting it, but it's still the same thing. And let's get to another example. Create a list that contains the cube of numbers from 1 to 7. So I believe someone can actually try this out. See it. You can try out the what they call it. We can try out the classical. I will try the classical method, the classical loop, but I would like all of us to try out the comprehension part of it. In maybe you can post it here or you post it in the chat room. Please, everybody must do it. Please, it's very important. Now, in this particular one is to create a list that contains the cube of numbers from 1 to 7. Cubes is equals to, now look at what I did. Instead of the normal one, I started with an empty list just like this. But this other one, I'm just calling it out immediately. I'm just calling out cubes equals to list, open and close normal brackets. So I do since I want it to be cubes from numbers from 1 to 7. So I said for k in range 1 comma, I could have, what is the, I believe there's a mistake here. I could have done it better, but for sure this could have been 8, since I want numbers from 1 to 7. So I can decide to change this one to 8, and it will still be the same thing. So maybe I'll just change it to 8. So I want cubes from what? From 1 to 7. So that means 8 will be the last number because 8 will not be inclusive. So for k in range this, and what are we going to do? We're going to say cubes dot append. The value of k we're going to put is going to be in cubes, and by the time we call out cubes, it will give us this particular answer. So I believe at this stage, let's try out the list, the comprehension way of doing this particular tasks. Please just try it out in the group, send it in the group chat, put it in the group chat, the least comprehension of it. Please just try it out. I'm seeing some people saying there's battery low. Sorry about that. Bad networks. Can't see the screen. Please just try out something. The list comprehension side of how to create a list that contains a cube of numbers from 1 to 7. Please try the list comprehension of it. Let's see what you can come up with. It's a practical class. I know we have not been doing hands-on for a long time, but it's good that you try out something tonight. Please just try out how can you use the list comprehension to do this particular classical method that we have used. Try to use a list comprehension way of it. Let's see what you can come up with. I just give you maybe like 1 minute. Let's try out something. Everybody should just try out something. Please. It shows that you actually understood what I'm saying so far. Okay, I'm seeing answers already. Well done. I can see Mr. Sunday's on. Okay, I can see. Wow, I'm seeing wonderful things here. Wonderful things are actually happening here. Amazing. Amazing. Okay, this is amazing. So you can see Dr. Peremy, Dr. Solomon, Mr. Fonobon, well done, Mr. Solo. Oh, this is amazing. This as in Okay, so this is really, really nice. So can see the answers are making sense. Okay, all right. So I think Mr. Farabo, you should that capital M will affect your work as a whole. Everything should be the same when it comes to
Yeah,
so
true. That's true.
yeah, and also
The I didn't put print as well. Yeah.
yes, and also Dr. Solomon, I think you tried to add some things. Well, okay, he has replaced, he has put his the this thing. He said I in range. Okay, he has gotten it. So he has corrected himself. Okay, Dr. Kwemi, J cube already. Then for J in range, okay, he decided to make this and it worked for him. Amazing, amazing. This is super amazing. And I go to the group chat and I'm seeing wonderful answers already. This is guys, you guys are really doing an amazing work. Well done. It shows that you understand what you are doing, and that is amazing. Thank you very much for trying it out. So let's just go to the next thing and let's continue with our learning. So you can see that was exactly what we had here, exactly this comprehension of it. Okay, so now let's go to text itself. How can we deal with maybe string characters and the rest? How can we make it work for us? So you can see an example here is to convert letters of the lorem ipsum into uppercase and append them to a list. So, for example, you're given a text like this, and that text you already they tell you to okay do this and convert the letters of the into uppercase and append them to a list. So before you see all of them are in lower cases, by the time you put them in lower cases and you said, okay, uh, after lowercase, I want you to make it upper first before you append it to a list. You can see this is a classical way of doing it. I define an empty list, and I said, okay, for each of the letters inside that text that we have here. So for letter in text, now what are we going to do? We are going to call out the empty list capitals dot append. What are we appending? We are appending the letter of we are appending the letter in which you have looked through using the text, but we are not just appending just the letter, we are appending the upper of that particular letter. So you can see I brought out a method there, I call out dot upper for that letter, and immediately you call out capitals, it's going to give us what? It's going to give us a capital form of the upper cases of the text that was given in a programming language. So in a variable text was this. So I don't know if anybody, before you even see the code for comprehension, can we just try another one can we try the can we try the comprehension way of this particular concept now? Can we try it out? Is anybody that should we try it out or should move on? Maybe I should just give you another 2 minutes to try out something. Can you come out with the comprehension version of this classical kind of method that we are using? Anybody that wants to try it, please just try it out. Let's see what you can come up with. Try out the comprehension way of making this code work for you using this concept that I've used for the classical method. This is the classical loop that I've showed you. Capital is equals to this. You define an empty list. I said for letter in text, what should you do? Capitals dot append letter capital dot append. What are we appending? Letter dot upper. So that one is just the classical way of doing it, but we are looking at the comprehension way of making things work for us. So everybody should try. Please try something. Let's see what you can come up with. Okay. Emedion has started. Okay, wonderful. So she said letters dot upper for letter in text. Okay. All right. Let's see if that's what is going to be the answer. Let's see how that will be done. Please keep on doing some things for yourself. Doing some things for yourself is very important. Just try out something. It's very important that you try out something. Okay, I can see that of Mr. Cole capitals. Okay, equals to letter dot upper. Fantastic for letter in text. Okay, this is super amazing. Guys, you guys are making things happen here. It's amazing that you understand the whole concept now, and it's amazing that you're getting a whole lot of things done. Okay, well done. I can see someone is still typing. Someone is still typing. So we'll just wait a little while and see what the person will come up with. Okay, so Mr. Ko, when it comes to capital letters, when it comes to things like this, are you sure you use capital letters for naming variables? But nevertheless, let's. Okay, well done. Okay, okay, this is amazing. Everybody is getting things done. Okay, okay. Dr. Solomon said he's an agreement with the medium. Okay, so let's see how this is possible, and I can see what Miss Dr. Kwemi just did right now. He did something when it comes to list. So let's see how it goes. Let's see how it makes a whole lot of sense. Okay, let's look at my own version of it. Let's see what we could come up with. So it's simple. I can see what Dr. Kwemi was trying to do here. I could have just decided to. I think he did another way. He made it in another way by saying it is going to be a list, and there is no problem. So the other people, why did they do their own in form of a list? Even though they did not bring out the list method, they started with a square bracket and ended with a square bracket. That means anything that you are doing inside here should come inside a list. That one was different for Dr. Femi. He did something different, which is still very wonderful as well. He converted everything. That means anything that this thing does is going to be inside the word a list. So these different methods arriving at the same answer. Thank you very much for trying it out, and that is super, super amazing. All right. So now, if you have any question, you can. If you feel lost, if you feel completely lost, please, you can decide to unmute yourself and talk to us. We look at the dictionary comprehension. And
Excuse me
now
a
we.
minute.
Yes. Okay. Yes, I'm with you, sir.
Sorry, what if the for letter in text comes first and the letter dot upper goes behind? Do you still
You
work
have,
that
you
way?
have, you have broken the rules of the game.
Okay, it will work that
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, the list comprehension, make sure that anything that you want to do with it starts from the beginning. Let's see what you can, except there are more than two that you want to do at the end of it. So it's still, it's a safe, it though when it comes to coding, the way it is working for you, the way I know it is how it has been for a very long time. So you can decide to say, okay, let me try out new things by myself, and something that you feel might not work will definitely work out for you. But so far so good. This is the way we have been doing it, and I feel it's better off. But if you can try out something else and you feel it's okay for you, no wahala. Please just try it out. It's going to make a whole lot of sense. Okay, thank you very much.
All right, thank you, thank you.
All right. Okay. So let's continue. This we are through with dish. We are through with list, and maybe we even dabble on the strings version of it. So okay. Let's just look at dictionary comprehension for a while. Then after we'll just say, okay, let's maybe in the next class we'll look at other comprehension. So let's look at dictionary. We have two lists. Remember when we're trying to, and if we have two lists now, I want to say, okay, we have two lists: programming languages and release here: Python, Java, JavaScript, C++. These are programming languages, and thank God you started with Python, because if we had, for example, if we just started with we started with Java or we started with C Sharp, I know where you could have been right now. You could have been super confused when it comes to programming, but it doesn't matter. Anybody can learn at any time. It's okay. So we will combine these two lists into a dictionary. So we have languages, and years. So we have two lists now, guys. We have done something before this particular class. How can we combine two lists inside one? How can we combine inside one and change it to a dictionary? There's a particular function that we have done before now. How can we make this happen in form of a dictionary? How can we combine the two lists, languages and years? How can we do it? It's a particular function I'm waiting to hear from somebody. How can we combine two things together? How can we combine two lists together and make it form as one in the form of unpacking or something like maybe you're just trying to pack them up? What function can we use to make it happen? Okay, someone has replied my question with another question. So I will not say anything until you confirm that instead of putting it as a question mark, you can put it as an answer so that I will now say, okay, let's see. Medium has dropped a bombshell. So let's see if she's actually saying, okay, Dr. Kwemi's hand is up. Okay, Mr. Solomon, Dr. Solomon said yes. Yes, Dr. Solomon is the one that has answered Medium right now. So I am not there. And then she now confirmed with Zip. Okay, let's see. Dr. Kwemi's hand is up. Dr. Kwemi, your hand is raised. I don't know if you wanted to say something. Maybe. Hello, you're muted, Dr. Kwemi, if you are talking. Okay, maybe it's network. I can't hear him, and maybe he doesn't know that he's not muted. So let's just continue. So, Dr. Kwemi, I don't know if your hand is raised. You want to say something? Okay, so he's not saying anything. Maybe are you sure you guys are really hearing me? Maybe it's the network, my own network. Okay, I believe he's hearing. Everybody's hearing me. Okay, so it's the zip function we normally use then. Well done. Thank you very much. Thank you for confirming that, Dr. Solomon. But let's see how we can actually make practical use of it. So we define a dictionary actually. We define an empty dictionary. Okay, and I said, okay, for lang, comma, year. Remember this lang is for the languages and year is for the years. We are just defining an arbitrary variable here in zip. We're now adding together two of them, languages and years. We're now bringing them together, saying that lang is for languages and year is for years. So by the time we now said, okay, for lang, comma, year in zip, languages, comma, years. Now, we are now bringing out this dictionary now. And I said, okay, we are now bringing out this dictionary and this empty dictionary. I said, okay, this lang underscore year, the key, which is the lang, which is going to be, let's say, Python, Java, JavaScript, and C Sharp, is going to give us the key. And also, what will be the key that we are going to have here is the lang. And what will be the value? It is the year that we have looked through into this particular zip file that we have gotten. So any value that we have for lang will also represent that for year. For example, if we are looking through this zip file that we have put them together, languages and year, it means that Python here is the key. 1989 will be the value. If Java is coming out as the key here, that means 1995 will be the year that will be the value that will be added to that particular list. So you can see here, by the time we call out the lang underscore year, which has already added to that dictionary, it comes out Python 1989, and I can see. Oh, someone is saying they can't see my screen. Please confirm, Mr. Ko. Please, can you see my screen? Let's confirm that you can see my screen. If it's not network.
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay, maybe Dr. Kwemi needs to go out and come in. I don't know. Maybe it's network. Maybe it's network that is disturbing. Okay. Okay, so you can see now, if you try the comprehension way of making things happen, the first thing we'll do is just to define the variable that we want to use, the arbitrary variable. You can see lang underscore year, this comprehension way of it. So you start with a dictionary. Remember, we are starting this particular time, we're starting with a dictionary. That's why we are having the curly brackets here. So we want to put everything inside a dictionary. That's why we were starting inside a dictionary. And we now said, okay, lang is to, like a column here for lang, comma, year. Okay, that means this is how we want it to be. We want it to be in this format. Lang is to what? Year. And when I said for lang, comma, year in zip languages and years. By the time we call it out, lang underscore year underscore com is going to give us the same thing here that we did for the classical way of doing it. So you can see here, we define lang in is to year. That was the first format. That's how we want it to be, like in the way we want to put it in the dictionary way, the value, the key, and the value. And I said, okay, now we have done that. Now let's go to the operation itself. And I said, okay, for lang, comma, year in zip languages, comma, year. We close it and we close the end of the dictionary, and we call it out. It will still give us the same thing. Okay, it will give us the same thing. So it's almost the same. This particular one, I just decided to drop a step. So you could have done the same thing. Is see the same thing here. You can see the same thing. Just that I've done this one in one line. I just brought it down here for you to see that you can use the for loop after this. So this is lang, comma. This is the same thing you could have done. It's exactly this and this is the same thing. Just that I added an enter key down here. That is why you see it coming down here. You can see it coming down here. You can decide to could have left it there. It will still have worked for you perfectly well. Okay, it will have still worked for you perfectly well. Okay, have still worked for you perfectly well. It's just that I added an enter key here. You can see I've added that enter key again, and it takes us down there. You can see it here exactly as we did. So what we're going to do right now, the next one is going to be the set comprehension. You can see the set comprehension here. It's almost the same thing here. So you can decide to say, okay, Pepe is equals to Pepe. Set member is always unique. The elements are always unique. So you can see for the classical method, we will use a letter equals to set. You are defining an empty set here. And I said for L in Pepe, which is the text here, Pepe here. And I said, okay, anytime we have that letter, this is an empty set. Now I said letters dot add L. Okay, that means we're adding each of the elements inside letters. Letters dot add. Remember how we add using sets? We use the add method. And letters dot add. By the time we call out letters, it's going to bring out E, P, and R. This is a set because you can see why is it E, P, and R. Someone asked me because it's supposed to bring out only one E. Though there are two E's here, it's going to bring out only one because it is a set. It's going to bring out only one P because it is a set. It's bringing out only one R because it is a set. All the elements must be unique enough. So if you want to try the list, the set comprehension way of doing is just one line, letters underscore com. I'm trying to make it comprehension equals to curly bracket L for L in Pepe. By the time you call it out, it's going to give us the answer here. So at this particular point, I would like to cease here and stop here for tonight because the next one that is coming up is going to be the nested comprehensions. Nested comprehension will be more complex enough for you to get it at maybe at this particular stage. It's very wonderful to know it is going to be when it comes to how we do nested loops, how we can make it work for us at some point. So this is how it's going to be. Maybe you can go through it, go around it in maybe before the next class. So this week we should start our snake game. We should start our project, the snake game at some point. And so let's all just rush about it. And I really have to go now because I think I have some unfinished business to do at work, and I had to rush down. Ren had caught up with me. I had to just come up and post the class first before going to it. It's very urgent. I need to submit it as early as before 12 a.m. tonight. So it's very important. So I don't know if there are any questions. We'll go into the nested comprehensions in the next class. That will be on Wednesday. There are a lot of things you'll be able to do with this. So there are a lot of conditionals. We should finish sets in the next class. You just finish sets. Sorry, we should finish comprehension in the next class. There are a lot of things we're going to. It's very easy enough to do. So as far as you just understand the logic, for you to just get the logic behind all these things, I'll be able to make it work for us. So thank you. If there are any questions, please let me know. If there are any questions, let me know. Let's see how we can make things work. Okay. Okay. Please, thank you very much for joining. And the recordings will be available. I know Mr. Funsa had missed part of the class. He was coming in and coming out. Maybe it's network. I'm sorry about that. We'll fix. Maybe you pray for Nigeria to be better, and the network should be better. The recordings will be available as early as possible tomorrow morning. Thank you very much for joining, and have a
Okay, sir.
fantastic. All right.